What's going on, guys? It's your boy Kev here, back with another Prizepicks video. Guys, we're going to be going over the Tampa Bay versus New York game tonight. Interesting matchup. Obviously, we do think the Bucs are going to win this, but you never know. You never know. It's been a weird week. I actually brought up some of the games this week just because I wanted to look them over. Just, I'm not saying Colts beating the Bills is the craziest thing in the world, but blowing them out that bad is absolutely insane. Baltimore had a close one with Chicago. That was a little surprising. Cleveland almost lost to Detroit, giving them their first win. Houston over Tennessee. I'm trying to think, what was another super weird one? There was another super weird one. Maybe it was Jacksonville last week against the Bills I'm thinking of. Yeah, that was probably it because, I guess these aren't too crazy off the rip here. But there's been a lot of weird upsets lately, so you never know. You absolutely never know. But I still would be surprised. I think most people would if the Giants can pull it off tonight. But, guys, I will give you my little synopsis that I do every single video. If you're new to the channel or new to Prizepicks, Prizepicks is essentially a daily fantasy sports betting platform where instead of just picking players and just hoping they do well, you're betting on the over and under of point projections of players. So we're looking at Daniel Jones here at 16 points. I can, take him, whether I think he's going to go over or under this, and I can pair that 2, 3, 4, or 5 times, kind of like a parlay. And I can do that with single stat entries and other sports as well. So that's pretty cool. I love the fact you can do that, and you guys know I like doing it with MMA. But if you do sign up, please use code DGF. That's DGF. It really helps support us. And if you do, you will get access to our promo that we're running right now, where you get a 100% match up to your first deposit, or of your first deposit up to $100. So you put $100 in, you get $100 credit. Great deal by using code DGF. But let's get right into it, guys. I know, I know you guys know at this point I like to make these videos short and sweet, as there's not really a lot to unpack. I'll start with the single stats now. First single stat I'm looking at is the passing yards for quarterbacks. Tom Brady passing yards seems pretty enticing at 287.5. To be honest, though, this is still pretty accurate. Tom Brady's been doing really well this year. We know that he's a great quarterback, and this is a favorable matchup, but he's more lighting it up on the touchdown side than the yardage side, so I think this is actually going to be too accurate. I'm going to avoid it. I'm not going to touch Daniel Jones here either, too much for that. So let's get right over the rushing yards. Rushing yards, I don't hate Leonard Fournette at 59.5 over one of my more favorite picks. Last week, my favorite pick was over of Damian Harris at a similar line. That was on Thursday night, and not too much has changed. I like Fournette over right here. The New York Giants defense is super banged up right now. They're also 23rd against the run currently, so that helps a lot. I think they're averaging like 122 rushing yards per game against. He's been getting good usage, averaging about 65%, something like that, snap count over the past 6 weeks. Obviously, last 2 games didn't go great, but it was more game script than anything. I don't think the Giants are going to be able to keep up. They want to keep their studs healthy. They don't want to have to pass the ball. They don't want to have to give Tom Brady, over usage, and especially with AB out, they don't want to bang up Godwin and AB too much. If they can run it, they want to run it. So I definitely think Leonard Fournette is in line to get some good carries as long as they can see themselves competitively ahead right now, so I don't hate that. I'm also wondering if I want to gamble on the Brady over of 0.5 rushing yards again. We took this one time, and I think the time I took it, Matt or TJ was letting me know like 90% of bets on like Barstool, was it Barstool or DraftKings Sportsbook? Like 90% of prop bets or something was on Tom Brady's over on that game that I told you to take the over rushing, and people were pissed because he rushed, got the over, and then kneeled it down like 3 times and dropped them right under that metric. So I think it was like over 1.5 rushing yards, and he kneeled it down to 1. So it was crazy, but more times than not, he is going to get over 0.5 rushing yards. He gets usually an attempt a game, and usually he gets over that mark. So it is more likely than not, probably about 3/4 of the time, he'll cover this. So, it is a safer bet than not, but still, I get if you want to avoid it. Going over receiving yards. I'm probably not going to touch this one. I'm probably not going to touch receiving yards. Kadarius Toney, there's a lot of hype behind him. I know he's had some good games. I like him. I picked him up in my fantasy league. I still don't trust him. I don't trust Kenny G. Mike Evans is hit or miss. I trust Godwin, but I do want to look at him more in the reception category at 6. With no AB, AB's been out since week 7, I believe. Since week 7, Godwin has had 8, and 7 receptions, so he has definitely seen an uptick. He hasn't been below 7 since AB's been gone. When AB was playing, he had a couple games under, so clearly he's seeing the target share, benefits from AB not being there. As we know he would. He's more of a PPR guy than Evans or anybody else on that team, so we knew Chris Godwin would get some targets. So I don't mind him for the over on receptions either. I was looking at passing TDs and touchdowns, all that stuff. I don't think any of that makes too much sense. If you want to go over to fantasy score, Tom Brady, 20 is not necessarily accurate. He's actually kind of inconsistent. Tom Brady's always been somewhat inconsistent from a fantasy perspective because you never know what kind of game script they're going to run. It could be a 3-run three touchdown Fournette kind of game. Could be, Mike Evans drops 40 points, and Tom Brady is obviously the beneficiary of that. I don't know. You never know what's going to happen. I still think like some of these, like Kadarius Toney, I like him a lot. I still think, even though as banged up as that offense is, and the role he should play, I definitely think he should probably be under that, even if them playing behind, even if Tampa Bay's just more times than not from what I've seen. I don't know. I mean, most of these guys, Darius Slayton, Kenny G, like Giants offense has just not looked great as a whole. We know that, but someone will pop over, someone will pop under. Mike Evans at 14 isn't bad either, especially knowing just how he usually finds the end zone. But again, sometimes he'll find the end zone and be under this or something. And if he doesn't find the end zone, you're probably screwed because he's not a huge PPR guy unless he's clearing, 90 yards and gets his 5 catches for 90 yards, which is entirely possible as well. But from a fantasy points perspective, I'm definitely looking at more of the single stats. I like Fournette rushing over, Brady rushing over, and Godwin at the receptions. But that's going to do it, guys. Like I said, not a ton to unpack here. I think that's pretty obvious in this slate. But if you did like the video, please like, subscribe, smash that notification bell, and use code DGF if you do sign up for Prizepicks. And we got some more MMA content coming up this week, more football. Super excited, and Matt and TJ will cover basketball and all that other good stuff. So thank you guys for tuning in. As always, let's cash.